Hi friends, welcome to Midnight Horror Picture Show. For those who don't know me, I'm Neil, and we're going to call this episode 0. It's really more of an opportunity for me to introduce myself and give you some insight into my background and why we're making this show. So, my mom helped me write my first script when I was 6 years old. My friends and I performed it at our first grade talent show. Granted, the short sketch was highly derivative of Nickelodeon's All That. We might have borrowed some characters, but thankfully, Nickelodeon's lawyers never came after me for it. Around the same time, kinder horror was prevalent in the media. Kinder horror meaning entry-level horror, designed to introduce kids to the genre. From Erie, Indiana, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps, both the books and the original TV show. Scary stories to tell in the dark. These stories were terrifying, but I couldn't get enough of them. I was fortunate enough to have access to my parents' VHS camcorder growing up, experimenting with telling my own stories, and I went to a high school that had a pretty decent media arts program. After high school, I attended a trade school for TV broadcasting and graduated around the time when Michigan had the highest tax incentives for film productions in the country. It was short-lived, but I got to work on a number of big-budget productions and learned so much about what it takes to put a film together. When the tax incentives left, so did the industry, and I started making films with friends. A few years later, I started my own production company, Curate Films. I bit off way more than I could chew on my first few projects, but I decided I wouldn't make the same mistakes twice. I still view every project as an opportunity to learn and grow as a filmmaker and artist. When I felt that our work was ready to start submitting to festivals, I had no idea where to start. So, like most of us, I looked it up on the internet. I made a Film Freeway account and started submitting blindly. And that leads us into the why of Midnight Horror Picture Show. The indie horror space isn't just a genre, it's a community. I have had the pleasure of meeting so many incredibly talented people through the festival circuit and want to help make sure they get the spotlight they deserve. For filmmakers, whether you're just starting out or have a few films under your belt, the insights our guests share into all different aspects of production, fundraising, festivals, and distribution is something you won't want to miss. And for horror fans, you get the inside scoop on the indie horror scene. You might discover one of your new favorite filmmakers, and you will definitely want to make the trip to these festivals to experience the voices creating the next generation of horror. Look, in a world full of prequels, sequels, and reboots, we need original storytelling more than ever, and that can only happen if we support it. Episode 1 comes out this Wednesday. Until then, stay spooky and keep supporting indie horror.